Have you ever wondered how that package you ordered just a day ago shows up at your door so ridiculously fast? Well, the secret isn't just about speedy delivery vans. It's about an invisible, algorithmic powerhouse running the entire show from inside the warehouse. So today, let's dive into the digital brain of modern commerce, the Warehouse Management System, or WMS.
You know, for the longest time, warehouses ran on something called institutional memory. Just picture it. There's that one veteran employee, let's call him Dave, who just knows where everything is. He's the only one who remembers that a pallet of headphones from last Christmas is tucked away in aisle 12 behind the Halloween decorations. And you know what? It kind of works. Until, well, it doesn't.
Right. What happens when Dave finally retires, or calls in sick, or just plain forgets? The whole operation can literally grind to a halt. You're left with chaos. That single point of failure, that one human brain, is the exact problem modern logistics absolutely had to solve. See, a warehouse that runs on just one person's memory isn't just fragile, it's incredibly inefficient. It's a system that actively fights against any kind of growth. Let's break down why this old way of doing things is just so dangerous for a business. So this all boils down to two massive problems. First, it makes the business incredibly vulnerable. You lose the person, you lose the map to your own stuff. It's that simple. And second, you just can't scale. You can't just hire 100 new people for the holiday season and expect them to instantly download 20 years of Dave's experience into their heads. It's impossible. And this is where the hero of our story comes in, the Warehouse Management System. It is the digital brain that replaces that fragile, forgetful human memory with a flawless, infinitely scalable, and lightning-fast algorithmic mind. Now, it's really easy to confuse a WMS with, say, your basic accounting software, but they are worlds apart. Your accounting system knows you own 10,000 of an item. That's just a number. The WMS, on the other hand, knows the exact physical location of every single one of those 10,000 items. And more importantly, it's constantly calculating the fastest, most efficient way to get it, pack it, and ship it. It's not a passive bean counter, it's an active, real-time manager. So, how in the world does it do all this? Well, the very first step is to create a perfect digital twin of the physical warehouse. This is called building the warehouse topology. The system doesn't think in vague terms like, it's over by the loading dock. No way. It assigns a super precise alphanumeric address to every single spot, every rack, shelf, and bin. So an address like A05-12-3-1 tells the system it's in Zone A, Aisle 5, Section 12, on the third tier up, in the first position. And here's the crucial part. That address also contains data, like its maximum weight capacity. Having an address for everything completely changes how you store things. The old way, static storage, was like a library, right? The gardening section was always the gardening section. If the shelves were empty, they just stayed empty. A WMS unlocks dynamic, or what some call chaotic storage. Any item can go in any available spot because the system has a perfect memory. It never, ever forgets where it puts something. And wow, does this pay off? A warehouse with static storage is lucky to use 65% of its available space. But with dynamic storage powered by a WMS, that number shoots up to 95% or more. Think about a tire shop. In the summer, the winter tire section would just be empty space in an old system. With a WMS, that space is instantly filled with a new shipment of car cleaning supplies. Not a single cubic foot is wasted. It is pure efficiency. Okay, so once the digital map is built, the WMS manages every single step of an item's life inside the warehouse. And we can really break this journey down into 5 core processes. It all starts with receiving, where the system scans and validates new deliveries. Then comes put away, where the WMS decides the absolute best place to store that new item. Next up is picking, the super critical task of grabbing items for a customer's order. After that, it's off to packing and shipping. And finally, something called cycle counting, which is like a continuous rolling inventory check that means you never have to shut down the whole warehouse for a count again. Let's look closer at put away, because this is where that location data becomes a lifesaver. Literally, imagine a forklift operator tries to put a heavy 1,200 kilogram pallet onto a shelf that's only rated for 1,000 kilograms. Well, the WMS will flash a big red error on their handheld scanner and physically block the action in the system. It prevents a potentially catastrophic rack collapse before it can even happen. Now, let's talk about speed. In a traditional warehouse, a worker walking up and down the aisles might pick about 100 items or lines per hour. We call this the person-to-goods model.
And for a very long time, it was the only way to do it. But a WMS working with a fleet of robots completely flips this idea on its head. It's called the goods-to-person concept. Instead of a picker walking miles and miles every single day, autonomous robots find the correct shelf, lift it up, and bring it directly to a stationary worker at a picking station. All of that wasted cobble time? Poof, gone. So what's the result? Productivity absolutely explodes. That same worker can now process up to 500 lines per hour. That is a 5-fold increase in efficiency. This leap is the engine that makes next-day or even same-day delivery possible for all of us. The WMS is also incredibly smart about where it stores things in the first place. Using what's called an ABC analysis, it classifies every product by how popular it is. The super popular A items get placed in the golden zone, right at waist height and close to the shipping docks. The really slow-moving C items, they get put on the highest shelves way in the back. It's all about minimizing human movement to make every single pick that much faster. But the system's intelligence goes even deeper than that. Okay, let's say you have 10 identical boxes of the same product sitting on a shelf. Which one should you ship to the customer? It seems like a simple question, but the WMS uses a whole set of sophisticated rules to make that decision perfectly every time. For electronics, it usually uses FIFO, or first in, first out, so the oldest tech gets sold first. For things like stacked lumber, it might use LIFO, last in, first out, since it's only practical to take from the top of the pile. But here's where it gets really smart. For groceries or medicine, the system uses FEFO, first expired, first out. It will direct the picker to grab the box with the closest expiration date, no matter when it arrived. This simple rule virtually eliminates waste from expired products. So, what's next for the warehouse brain? I mean, this technology is evolving at an incredible pace, moving into the cloud and starting to pull in cutting-edge tools like artificial intelligence and augmented reality. The old model was having a big physical server humming away in a closet in a warehouse. These were clunky, hard to update, and would totally crash during a massive demand spike like Black Friday. Today's WS platforms are cloud-based. They can scale up their computing power instantly to handle any load and can push updates with zero downtime. They're just way more resilient and flexible. And the brain itself is getting so much smarter. Predictive AI can analyze trends and even weather data to anticipate a sudden rush on a product and then move that stock to the front of the warehouse before the orders even start flooding in. And with augmented reality, workers wearing smart glasses can see navigation pads and highlighted items overlaid on their real-world vision. This vision picking frees up their hands and makes it nearly impossible to grab the wrong thing. So, we've gone on this incredible journey from a system that relies on one person's fragile memory to one managed by a nearly perfect digital brain. The gains in speed, accuracy, and efficiency are just undeniable. But it does leave us with a really fascinating question to think about. As these systems get ever closer to perfection, what does the future of human work inside these incredible spaces really look like?